Karma is the best punishment for narcissists. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's discussion. I'm so glad you could join me, and I'm really excited to dive into a topic that I think will resonate with a lot of people. Today, we're going to explore something that strikes a chord with so many of us who've had experiences with difficult individuals in our lives. I'm talking about narcissists, and more specifically, why karma may just be the best punishment for them. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. First off, I want to acknowledge that dealing with a narcissist is often an exhausting and painful experience. Whether it's a partner, family member, coworker, or even a friend, narcissists have a way of draining the energy out of the people around them. They manipulate, control, and often seem completely oblivious to the pain they cause others. What makes it even more challenging is that, from the outside, it often looks like these individuals are thriving. They can be charming, successful, and seem to have everything they want. But here's where things get interesting. While they may seem untouchable, karma often has a way of working its magic in the background, even if it's not immediately visible. Now, when we talk about karma, it's important to understand that it's not always about immediate consequences or cosmic retribution that happens right away. Instead, karma works subtly and gradually, sometimes in ways that are invisible to us, until they eventually become undeniable. Narcissists often believe they are invincible, that they can manipulate people endlessly without any consequences. They lack empathy, making it difficult for them to see the world through the eyes of others. They genuinely believe their version of reality is the only one that matters. But here's the thing. The universe has a way of balancing things out, and narcissists are no exception to this rule. The beauty of karma, especially when it comes to narcissists, is that it's not always about external punishment. In fact, their real punishment often comes from within. Narcissists live in a world where they constantly crave admiration and validation. They need others to feed their fragile egos, because underneath all that bravado, there's usually a profound sense of insecurity. No matter how much praise they receive, or how many people they manipulate, it's never enough. There's always an insatiable hunger for more, and that, in itself, is one form of karma at play. Imagine living your entire life needing validation from the outside world, yet never feeling truly satisfied or fulfilled. That's the life of a narcissist. While they may seem like they're winning, the reality is they're often trapped in a cycle of endless pursuit for approval. And because their relationships are built on manipulation rather than genuine connection, they tend to alienate the very people they rely on. Friends, family, and coworkers eventually grow tired of the narcissist's behavior. They may start to distance themselves, leaving the narcissist with fewer people to feed their ego. But even more striking is how karma often strikes when the narcissist least expects it. Over time, as they burn bridges and lose the trust of those around them, they may find themselves isolated. They might be professionally successful, but without meaningful relationships, they often feel empty inside. What's worse is that they can't seem to understand why. Narcissists are experts at deflecting blame, so when things start to go wrong, they often point the finger at others. But deep down, whether they acknowledge it or not, the isolation they experience is a direct result of their behavior. This is karma at its finest, quiet, subtle, and deeply personal. Another interesting aspect of karma's effect on narcissists is their inability to maintain long-term success. While they may experience short-term wins, such as promotions or fleeting admiration from others, their lack of empathy and manipulative tactics tend to catch up with them. People eventually see through the facade. Employers, colleagues, and even acquaintances start to recognize the narcissist's self-serving behavior. And once people become aware of what's really going on, they stop enabling the narcissist's success. In many cases, narcissists experience what can best be described as a slow, steady downfall. It's not always a dramatic crash, but more like a series of small losses over time. They might lose a job, face public embarrassment, or experience the breakdown of relationships. While it's tempting to think of karma as some grand cosmic event, the truth is it's often a quiet process. The narcissist's own actions gradually lead to their undoing. One of the most painful aspects of this downfall is that narcissists often don't understand why it's happening. They don't possess the self-awareness to realize that their behavior has led them to this point. Instead, they often spiral deeper into manipulation and deceit, which only worsens their situation. And while they may put on a brave face, inside, they're struggling with the very thing they fear most, losing control. This loss of control, whether it's over their relationships, their image, or their success, is one of the harshest forms of karma for a narcissist. What's important to remember is that karma doesn't always operate on our timeline. We might want to see the narcissist in our lives get what we believe they deserve right away. But life doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it takes months or even years for the full weight of their actions to come back to them. And that's okay, because the longer it takes, the more profound the impact can be. Karma, in this sense, is patient. It waits until the perfect moment to make itself known, and when it does, the effects are often far more devastating than anything we could have imagined. For those of us who've been hurt by narcissists, it can be tempting to want revenge. We might fantasize about ways to make them feel the pain they've caused us. But here's the thing. Revenge rarely leads to the satisfaction we think it will. Instead, it often keeps us tied to the very person we're trying to move on from. The true power comes from letting go and trusting that karma will handle things in its own way and time. When we release the need for control or retaliation, we free ourselves from the narcissist's grip. There's also something incredibly empowering about watching karma unfold. When you step back and allow life to run its course, you often see things fall into place in ways you never could have orchestrated yourself. The narcissist may seem like they're getting away with their behavior for a while, but over time, the truth reveals itself. People who once idolized them begin to see their true colors. Opportunities that seemed within their grasp slip away, and in many cases, they're left wondering why things are falling apart. This is where the concept of karma shines. It's not about actively wishing harm on someone else, but about understanding that every action has a consequence. Narcissists, with their lack of empathy and disregard for others, tend to believe they're above this universal law. But no one is. Eventually, the weight of their actions catches up with them. Whether it's through failed relationships, personal loss, or the gradual erosion of their self-esteem, karma finds its way back to them. In the end, the best punishment for a narcissist isn't something we need to plan or execute ourselves. It's the natural consequences of their actions that catch up with them over time. And the most beautiful part? We don't need to be involved in their downfall. Instead, we can focus on our own healing, knowing that karma will take care of the rest. So, to anyone out there who's been hurt by a narcissist, remember this. You don't need to seek revenge. You don't need to fixate on making them pay for what they've done. Karma is already at work. It might not happen right away, and it might not look exactly how you imagined, but rest assured, it will happen. And when it does, the narcissist will face the consequences of their actions in ways they never saw coming. Thank you so much for joining me today and for being part of this conversation. I hope you found it helpful and maybe even a bit healing. If you did, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. your experiences, and how you've seen karma play out in your own life. And remember, we don't have to fight every battle ourselves. Sometimes, the universe has a way of balancing things out in its own time. Take care, everyone, and until next time, stay strong and stay hopeful. Karma's got your back.